Okay, let's begin. Okay, welcome everyone. This is a free taster to talk to the entities. My name is Amy Shine. I'm an Access Consciousness facilitator. I'm also a Talk to the Entity facilitator. I facilitate body classes, 3-day body classes. I facilitate joy business classes and movement classes. But today I'm here to give you a little taster of Talk to the Entities. And I titled it, Am I sad, depressed, crazy, or aware? And so for me, before I got educated with pragmatic and easy tools to deal with the spirit world, I went through all of those states of being sad, being emotional, being depressed, and just feeling like I was crazy and wrong all the time. And so I want to kind of walk you through breaking those different states down, those emotional states down, and looking at what's behind that and how that relates to the spirit world. I'll introduce you to some of the more basic tools of Talk to the Entities, and then anything beyond that you really require to Talk to the Entity classes to get more educated. Okay, so Talk to the Entities is a specialty class of Access Consciousness. You can find out more about Talk to the Entities www.talktotheentities.com, I think it is. And accessconsciousness.com is I guess pragmatic tools and processes to create ease and more consciousness for you in any area of your life. So today we're going to be talking about the spirit world and how it affects us emotionally, how it affects us mentally. So let's look at the first one. So am I sad? So when you wake up in the morning and you start to feel really sad, number one, when you go to I feel sad, what you do is you take that sadness and you lock it into your body and you make it yours. If you actually look at what am I perceiving? Am I perceiving sadness? That actually expands the sadness way out. So if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I feel really sad. Am I feeling sad? Or am I perceiving sadness? So we have this tool in Access Consciousness called Who Does This Belong To? So when you first maybe you take an Access Bars class, that's kind of the beginning class of Access Consciousness. You need a Bars class to take a Talk to the Entities class or a lot of the other classes. So if you take a Bars class, you learn this question that you can start asking, which is, who does this belong to? So you start to ask for everything you feel, everything that comes into your head. You say, okay, who does this belong to? Is this mine, someone else's, or something else? Now, we're so used to thinking everything that we think, everything we feel is ours. So a lot of time we've made it ours. So you can just go, okay, everything I've done to make this mine, I now destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, only shorts, boys, poets, and meons. And that's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can go to www.theclearingstatement.com for more on that. Now, so is that mine? Is that someone else's? Now, someone else, you can be aware of someone else. You can be aware of your mother, your neighbor. And then and if you're aware of someone else, you just acknowledge it. I'm aware of someone else's sadness, and then you return it to sender. Now, the third element is this something else. In the Bars class, you learn that something else is the earth desiring a contribution from you, that a lot of us are healers, a lot of us have healing energy, and we can facilitate the earth. There is another element to the something else, and that is entity awareness. So when you are aware, and all of you are aware, whether you know it or not, everyone is aware. Now, what they do with that awareness is a whole other story. But when you are aware, when you embody into this reality, you embody this whole reality and all its insanities. But you actually are aware of everything. You're aware of the physical world. You're aware of people in bodies. You're also aware of people and beings no longer in bodies. So when you ask, okay, who does this belong to? Is this mine, someone else's, or something else? And if you get it something else, ask, okay, is this the earth? Or is this a being without a body? Is this an entity that I'm aware of? Or entities I'm aware of? And so you start to include your awareness of the spirit world. A lot of us spend a lot of time and energy resisting the spirit world. And we don't want to acknowledge what we are aware of. And so every time we feel something like sadness, we make it ours. And then we try to process it. So I'm going to give you an example of how fast this works. I went dancing on Friday night, and I saw the DJ. He walked in and he was really cute. And I was like, oh, he's really cute. And I recently, in the last 6 months, left my marriage. I'm single now. I'm not in a relationship. And anyway, I walked up. I said I would go introduce myself to him. So I did. I went and talked to him. And when I went and talked to him, something happened in my world. What happened is I got a whole download of his world. And I talked to him for a few minutes. We exchanged numbers. And then I walked away. And as I walked away, I had this whole kind of energetic drop in my body. So I continued on. I danced and had a few more dances. It was, I'm doing Latin dancing at the moment. And then I went home, and I was driving home, and I started to get so sad, right? I started to feel so upset. And I went into the story of how I was sad because I was moving on, and that my relationship with my husband didn't work out. And that I went into all this story of why I was sad. I never asked a question. I never asked, who does this belong to? Who is this sadness belong to? And what am I aware of here? So the next day I called a friend who's also a facilitator, and I was telling him what happened. And he said, well, what did you download from his world when you talked to him? And I said, and I knew it. I knew the minute I talked to him, I downloaded everything from him because I knew something shifted in my world. And I said, everything. I downloaded everything. And what I actually got as well when I downloaded, I downloaded everything in his universe, plus all the stuff that he doesn't want to be aware of, plus all the ancestors that are attached to him, plus all the entities that are around him. I downloaded everything at once. And I came away being like, oh my God, overwhelmed, sad, crying. And so when my friend said, well, was that sadness yours? I was like, oh my God, no, it wasn't. And I never asked that question in that moment. When I was driving home, I went into the sadness and I attached a story to the sadness of why I was sad, rather than acknowledging what I was aware of. So how many of you have been doing that? How much have you been trying to process other people's emotions, other people's feelings? And also when you meet someone, how much do you download their whole world, plus every lifetime you've known them, all the spirits they have attached to them, all the entities they have that are around them, all their ancestors? That's a lot to be aware of. But the beautiful thing about the tools of access consciousness and talk to the entities is they actually give you a space so you can be aware of all that, and it's not going to kill you and it's not going to destroy you. So for me, before I had the tools of access consciousness, I wouldn't just cry a little bit while driving home. I would be crying for days on end. I would be on the floor with this overwhelming sadness, emotional pain, trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. And all along, I never included my spirit awareness. I never had tools to ask what I was aware of. Was I aware of entities? How many entities was I aware of? So how much spirit awareness do you have that you have not been acknowledging? Everything that is times a godzillion. Can we destroy and create it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, only shorts, boys, poveds, and means. So when you start to feel sad, you have to start going to, okay, who does this belong to? And who is the who? Is the who somebody else that's still in a body? Is the who beings that aren't in bodies? Especially when it comes to sadness. Sadness and depression, 99% of the time, sadness and depression is who does this belong to? It's you being really psychic and picking up on everyone else around you. But that also includes the spirit world. So a lot of people think like, you know, being aware of the spirit world is just being aware of light beings and angels and fairies. That's part of it. And you learn about that in the Talk to the Entities class. You get educated about spirits of the earth, about light beings, about teammates. And that's part of what's great about the spirit world. But also you have lots of entities that are no longer in bodies, that are stuck, that haven't moved on, that are sad, that are stuck in guilt, feeling guilty, that are stuck in a point of view. And so actually 80% of spirit awareness, spirit activity that you're aware of requires clearing. They just require to be cleared. So if you look at that, if there's more beings without bodies, there's more entities in the world than there is beings in bodies. So that means there's 9 billion people on the planet in bodies. That means there's more than that without bodies that are just hanging around. So we actually have to clear a lot of entities. There's a lot of entities stuck. And when someone is stuck, are they happy? Are they joyful? So there's actually a lot of sad entities stuck in the world that haven't moved on. Or they're hanging around their family members, or they're hanging around houses, or they're hanging on to some job they had in some other lifetime. So you can actually begin to create a lot of space in your world by clearing entities. And I'll teach you how to clear entities today. But that is a tool I can teach you. And then there's way more to the spirit world than just clearing entities, but that's at least the beginning. You can at least start acknowledging today how much of the sadness and depression you may be picking up on is not yours, belong to other bodies, but also maybe beings without bodies. And how many beings without bodies are you aware of that are sad and depressed and are stuck? And would you be willing to be a contribution and clear those entities? So, question, was the guy in his life story? So I'm not going to answer that question, Rachel. That's not really a question. Try and phrase it a little bit differently. Whenever you meet someone, everybody has entities around them. Like it doesn't, like, yes, you're an entity, like I'm an entity, you're an entity, Veronica's an entity, like everyone is an entity. And then you also have entities that may be around you. Like you all have maybe ancestors that hang around you, and then you have teammates. Like, so I'm not going to get into too much today because, guys, this is a topic that is so vast and so diverse that I can't educate you about it in a free taster 30-minute Zoom. If you want to get educated, I'm going to suggest to Talk to the Entities beginning class. And if you've already taken it and you still feel like you have no idea, take it again. There's a lot in it. And I've spent years educating myself, and I'm still continuing to educate myself. And there's so much to the spirit world. So I would say try to relax more, try to not understand it with your mind, and play with these tools that I'm going to share with you today and just see what shows up. So let's start with the clearing entities. So how do you clear entities? It's very simple. You just get present, first of all. Get present. So right now, ask, okay, how many Is there any entities around you? And just ask for the awareness, yes or no, that are no longer in bodies, that are stuck and need to be cleared. And if you get like kind of expanded, that's a yes, right? And if you get kind of like contracted, maybe it's a no. But most likely it's a yes. There's entities everywhere. So there's always entities around. So let's just go with yes today and let's just clear them. So here's how you clear them. So all the entities that are here, first off, you just let them know like, hey guys, do you realize you're dead and you don't have bodies anymore? That sometimes entities don't know that they've died. Like the beings might have left their body and they don't know that they don't have a body anymore. So sometimes you just got to let them know, do you realize you're dead and you don't have a body anymore? And then that's enough for them to go. And then those that are stuck, entities are stuck because they're stuck in a moment in time. They're stuck in some identity. They're stuck in some definition. They're stuck in some job. So what we do is we're going to clear them right now, but we're going to take them back in time. So we're letting them know who they were throughout all lifetimes. And then we're going to ask them who they be in the future. So they actually know that they have choice and that they can move on. So you just say, Truth, who are you? Who are you before that? 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 Who will you be in the future? What are you? What are you before that? 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 What will you be in the future? What's the purpose of being here? Who are you before you came here? What was your purpose before that? What was your purpose before that? What was your purpose before that? What will your purpose be in the future? What's keeping you stuck here? What are your jobs? Who gave you those jobs? What will your jobs be in the future? You are fired from all your jobs. You don't know, you no longer need to be stuck here. You can move on. Who will you be in the future? Where will you be in the future? What will you be in the future? What will your name be in the future? You can take all your magnetic imprinting and leave. Right and wrong, good and bad, pet and pock, all night shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And that's how you clear entities. Take a breath. Relax. More space or less space? And that's the beginning. That's any of you can take these tools and start clearing entities. That's where you begin. Now, there's a, like I said, there's a lot more to the spirit world than just clearing entities. And I'm going to touch into a bit of it today. Like, as Azul said, I loop the space clearing. So there's a clearing that Shannon O'Hara has from Talk to the Entities, clearing houses, buildings, and lands. And she has another one for clearing demons. Those clearing loops are $50 each. I will send them in the follow-up email. They're amazing to have in your house to play when you're at home, play them while you sleep. But clearing is never, it doesn't stop at clearing. So the 4 elements when you work with the spirit world are: number 1, clearing; number 2, communicating; number 3, cooperating, number 3, receiving; and number 4, cooperation. And you learn and you get educated about that in the Talk to the Entity the beginning class. And that's the foundation for you for working with the spirit world. If you have been clearing for 3 years, I would suggest you require to do more at this stage and get to work communicating, receiving, and cooperating with the spirit world. And if you haven't taken any Talk to the Entity beginning classes, intermediate or advanced, it may be time for you to move on. I'm giving you the clearing tools today for people who are brand new and who have never had any tools with the spirit world. But after a while, you're going to require to do more. If you desire it, it's always a choice. So, and I did the same. I cleared for many years entities, and I refused to communicate. I didn't refuse to communicate, but I only communicated if I really had to. And I was 7 years into Access. And even though I had all the tools of talk to the entities, I even had done a class, I still was not acknowledging my spirit awareness, and I was not using the tools of talk to the entities. And I had anxiety all the time. I had a racing heart. I had a lot of judgment of myself. I made myself wrong a lot. And that's another thing. You make yourself crazy when you refuse your spirit awareness. And I drove myself crazy. I was sad, depressed, crazy, rather than just acknowledging what I was aware of and then using the tools to deal with my awareness. So if you're clearing and it's not creating space, you want to ask, what do I need to communicate, cooperate, and receive with here, and get educated on how to do that. So clearing will work, and it will only bring you so far as well. So it's sad, depressed. Who does this belong to? So let's look at crazy. Am I crazy? So I did a lot of drugs from probably like 19 to 21. And when you do drugs, you actually open up your awareness even more. And a lot of times when you come off the drugs, you actually don't know what to do with everything that you became aware of while on drugs. A lot of times on drugs too, you can open up portals. And we teach you about portals in the Talk to the Entities beginning class also. But when you open up portals, you can also become a portal. So I'm sharing this because this is what happened to me. I did drugs. I opened up portals while on drugs unknowingly. And then when I came off the drugs, that portal was still open. And it was like the entities were using me as a way of getting in and out. It's like I'm a vacant hotel and they can jump in and out of me. So I went through a psychosis, and during the psychosis, even after the psychosis, because I was put on medication then, I had a lot of entities telling me, well, I would call them, whenever someone's telling you to kill yourself, that's a demon energy. So I had a lot of demons telling me to kill myself. I had a lot of entities talking to me. I had a lot of voices in my head. And I thought I was crazy. I didn't have any tools at that time. I didn't have access to access consciousness or talk to the entities. So I really just had to deal with it in my own way, which my own way was to just push past it, just keep going. And I did other things, like I went to AA and I was put on medication. But ultimately, I needed these tools. I needed to talk to the entities. I needed the information. I needed to get present. I needed to deal with my entity awareness, because otherwise they were running my life and they were running havoc over me. So if you have a lot of entity awareness and you don't get present with it, the entities will end up running your life. And that's not always your best choice. So what I realized after like 7 years doing Access was what happens. So it's like you can have all the tools in the world and you can do all the verbal processing and you can do private sessions and all that is great. But something happens when you take a Talk to the Entity class. When you actually get yourself to these classes, the classes actually clear a lot of implants. And I've talked to people who have a lot of entity awareness, but it's too much for them to handle. And it's like if you look at it, okay, how many lifetimes were you a witch? How many lifetimes were you killed for being a witch? So then in this lifetime, how many lifetimes did you talk to spirits? How many lifetimes did you work with the spirit world? So then if you were killed, and were you killed? Were you tortured? Were you ridiculed? Were you punished in other lifetimes for working with the spirit world? Were you killed for being a witch? Were you killed for being a wizard? So all the PTSD you have from those lifetimes, and everywhere you're refusing your spirit awareness and ease with your spirit awareness in this lifetime can we destroy and uncreate, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, papak, only shorts, boys, poveds, and meons. So a lot of us have been implanted and explanted to not allow ourselves to have ease with our spirit awareness. So when you take the Talk to the Entity classes, a lot of these classes, what we're doing is we're clearing our implants. So for me, even though I knew the tools of Talk to the Entities, I actually needed the classes so that I would have ease with my spirit awareness and space. I thought I was fine just doing the clearings but I wasn't. I still had a lot of overwhelm and anxiety. And I'll give you an example. I went to Charleston, which is in America, and I was Charleston is actually a town where they would have like bought and sold the slaves back in the days of slavery, and I didn't know that. And while we were there, I constantly just had this sense of how wrong I was. I was so wrong. I was so bad. I was so awful. And just really a sense of like sadness and depression when I was there. And one day, and I walked up to a friend and I just said like how I was feeling. And he said to me, like, have you even acknowledged your spirit awareness? And I was like, yeah, I know that I'm aware of entities. I clear entities. I use the tools. And he looked at me and he's like, but have you really acknowledged your spirit awareness? And that day I was walking home back to my hotel and we were passing this podium. And one of the girls I was with said, oh, that's where they used to like buy and sell and hang the slaves back during the days of slavery. And in that moment, I was like, oh shit. That's the spirit awareness I'm aware of that I didn't want to acknowledge I was aware of. And so by me refusing to acknowledge what I was aware of, not having any tools to deal with what I was aware of, instead, what was showing up was the mental disorders, the sadness, the wrongness, the judgment. So how much of the mental disorders is actually spirit awareness not being dealt with? Ooh, everything doesn't know that. Can we destroy and uncreate, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, only shorts, boys, poveds, and meons. So like Aline said, she did the Talk to the Entity class 2 years ago, and she's perceiving that she has to go deeper because it's becoming overwhelming. Yeah, Aline, I was the same. I mean, I was a CF. I had done all the classes in Access, and I had done Talk to the Entities twice. And I still was here in Charleston, a couple of years into being a CF, and being like, wow, like I am not really using these tools at all right now. And that was just a moment I shifted that day. Like something shifted in me where I was like, okay, I've got to step into this. I can't refuse this any longer. So, like you can take classes, but then it's like, are you actually using the tools? Are you actually applying the tools? Or do you just take the class and forget about whatever you learned in the class? And so for me, I had to look at, wow, by not acknowledging and not using the tools of Talk to the Entities, I was suffering mentally. I looked fine on the outside, but inside I was suffering. And that day I really got it. I was like, and it happened in my past before Access. Like one time I went, not one time, like anytime I went anywhere, I went to Rome with a friend, and the whole time I was there, like at nighttime, I couldn't sleep. And I remember being awake in the middle of the night, sitting on the bathroom floor. My head was racing. If you get a racing mind, that's a sign of entity awareness, entity activities. I didn't know that at the time. My mind was racing, and I was sitting on the bathroom floor going, what is wrong with me? I'm so fucked up. What is wrong with me? And at that time, I didn't realize how aware I was. I had no idea, of the tools of Talk to the Entities or Access. But when you go different places, there's different entity activity there. Like if you go to Rome, you have all the entities with the Catholic Church, with the Vatican, with the Colosseum. And you've also got to educate yourself around like where on the earth, what's gone on there, what's the history there, what happened there. And this is where you can actually begin then to stop making everything personal. Every time you feel sad or overwhelmed, like, what am I aware of? Who am I aware of? Whew. And so even just the simple tool I gave you of clearing entities, like if you go to a different country, clear entities. If you check into a hotel room, clear entities. You know, if you're brushing your teeth in the morning, clear entities. Start clearing. At least that will deal with some of the backlog. And then when you're ready or you need more, you move on and you get more. So are you really crazy or are you aware? And so many of us are so used to making ourselves wrong. We're so used to believing that we are crazy. We don't want to acknowledge our awareness. And on top of that, our awareness isn't something that we can understand with our mind. Your mind is never going to comprehend that if you fly to Rome, that you're aware of the Colosseum and all the entities that are stuck there and all the demons that the Catholic Church use and all the abuse that went on there and all the entities that might be stuck in still an abuse state. Like there's so much that goes on in different places. Can your mind understand that? No, but you are aware of it. So what would it be like to actually start acknowledging you are aware, not crazy? What if you're crazy aware? Another great tool is, and not a tool of talked identities, it's a tool of access consciousness. But whenever I start to feel really crazy and overwhelmed, it's called the crazy phrase. And this is what you do. You just say, so whatever is going on in your head, you just say this: everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Oof, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Take a breath. More space or less space? So you can try that when you start to feel really crazy. And then if you start to have sorry guys, I'm getting distracted by the chat. So I think I'm going to just keep going right now and I'll answer the questions in the chat at the end. So if you start to feel like you're going crazy, a lot of us feel like we're going crazy when we have a racing mind and we have a lot of thoughts in our head. A lot of the time that mental stuff can be entity activity. It could be you picking up on somebody else's head, like maybe your husband or your partner or your neighbors, but it can also be you picking up on entities. So for me, you want to start acknowledging your signs of entity awareness. So some of my signs of entity awareness, number one is racing mind. Well, a lot of times when I have a racing mind, it's a sign of entity awareness for me. Another one is feeling like I'm fucked up and wrong. That's another sign of entity awareness for me. Another one is itchy skin. Sometimes for me, it's indigestion, it's belching, it's bloating, it's burping. But you don't want to conclude that every time you burp, it's an entity. Like you just want to ask. If you're burping a lot, go, okay, what am I aware of right now? Is this mine, someone else's, something else? Is this something else the earth desiring me to facilitate and contribute to it? Or is it entity awareness? And so I still go to those questions a lot. Mine, someone else, something else. Someone else, return to sender. Something else, earth or entity. And I ask the questions very quick on purpose so I don't have time to go into my mind and think about it. I want to go to my knowing that is instantaneous. But if you start to identify your signs of entity awareness, it'll be easier for you when things show up. So how much of the racing mind and the thoughts in your head is entities trying to talk to you? And what if you could acknowledge that? Okay. And do these entities want to be cleared, or do they want to communicate with you? And so you can do the clearing. You don't have to have a particular intention. Just do the clearing. Even if you think the clearings aren't working, just do them anyway. And then some entities are going to want to talk to you. And then that's your choice, whether you do or not. And we teach you how to communicate with entities in the beginning class. Now, if you start to have voices in your head, or you know anyone who gets voices in their head telling them that they should kill themselves, any voices in your head that are that of judgment, that are really like very, like sometimes you're just judging yourself, like you're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh, I have a wrinkle, or, oh, you know, I feel fat today. All right, that's kind of like, you know, judgment light. But if you have like intense judgment, where for me, the example was in my early 20s when I was on medication, like every day for a year, I had voices in my head going, you should probably just kill yourself. You should just end it. You should kill yourself. That is always a sign of demon energy. First of all, you would never talk to yourself like you. So it's someone talking to you saying you should. You would never talk to yourself in third person. And then demons like to attach to people who are doing a lot of judgment. And if they can get power over you and power over your body, then they get power. Demons actually don't come from this planet. They come from a fiery planet. They don't actually want to be here. So you can clear them easily. You don't have to make them bigger than you. You don't have to make them greater than you. Had I had this demon clearing, which I'm going to give to you now in my early 20s, my life would have been so much easier. Instead, I just ignored them and I carried on with my life and I pushed myself beyond the thoughts. But you can use this yourself. So if you start to hear, I should kill myself, or I should end it, or you start to hear any of that stuff, just say this. Say the statement, you say it out loud and you say it in English. Return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. All the demons, return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. Whew, all the demons here, return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. All the demons here, return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. Wow, the thunder is going outside and rain at the same time. All the demons here, return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. All the demons here, return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. All the demons here, return to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. One more time. All the demons, go back to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. Whew. Everything doesn't allow that. Can we destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pop and pop, pot and pop, only shorts, boys, poveds and meows. So take a breath. More space, less space. Lighter, heavier. So you can give that clearing if you have clients who have suicidal thoughts, give them that clearing. I have woken up in the middle of the night with energies at the end of my bed that were trying to scare me. And that's another thing, like, don't ever make any entity or demon greater than you. You have a body, they don't have bodies. So who has more power, you or them? So anything that's trying to scare you or anything like that, just laugh at it. There was an energy at the end of my bed one night and I woke up and I felt disturbed. That's another entity awareness indicator for me, is when I'm disturbed. But this kind of energy got in my face and I just looked at it and I'm like, okay, you really think you're going to scare me? Get the hell out of my bedroom. You're not welcome here. And then I ran the return Go back to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. Go back to from whence you came from. Never return to me, my body, or this reality ever again. I ran that a couple of times and then I was like, get the fuck out. And then the energy went away. So these tools are very easy. Don't make them dramatic. They are pragmatic. Don't get so dramatic about the spirit world. The spirit world is actually very pragmatic. And personally, before I found the tools that talk to the entities, the information I got about the spirit world from, I had a shaman teacher and he made it so dramatic. And he made it that I would have to go to him for everything and I should never mess with the spirit world and I would get destroyed if I did. And it was so disempowering. And I watched him disempower other people too. And I'm so grateful for the tools of Talk to the Entities because it gave me and empowered me to know nothing is more powerful than me. Nothing is greater than me. There's nothing that I can't handle. And now I have pragmatic tools to deal with the spirit world in an easy way. The mantra of access consciousness, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. That includes the spirit world. So all of the spirit world comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Ooh, all of spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Do you notice how more relaxed you get? So I already know because this video is going on YouTube, I'll probably have people comment who, like start talking about demons and stuff. And it's just like, the thing is, demons are one little tiny element of the spirit world. There's so much more to the spirit world. And that's why a lot of people try to lump everything under one thing. Like, okay, demons are entities and it's all there. No, you have all different types of entities. You have people who've been in bodies that aren't in bodies anymore, like your grandmother, your ancestors. You have people who left their bodies but are stuck and can't move on because maybe they died on drugs or alcohol or in a trauma. And that's where clearing them and talking to them, clearing them can set them free. You also have entities that weren't in bodies, like spirits of the earth. You have nature spirits. You have teammates who are your spirit guides as such. You have demons. Then you have other light beings of consciousness. So there's so much within the spirit world. You can't lump and glump it all together. That's like just saying all people are the same. So what energy, space, and consciousness can you and all your bodies be to clear, transform, transmute all energies and entities with total ease for all eternity? Whew, everything doesn't have that. Can we just try and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, papak, only shorts, boys, povids, and means. And all the artificial intelligence you've been using to make yourself crazy, sad, depressed, that never allows you to perceive, know, be, and receive the ease of being aware of the spirit world. Can we destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, papak, only shorts, boys, povids, and means. And the beautiful gift of opening up to the spirit world is, yes, you may have to clear some demons. Yes, you may have to clear some entities, but you also open up to receiving the spirits of the earth, to receiving your teammates, to receiving light beings of consciousness. You open up to a world of magic. So everywhere you give up on a world of magic and committed to the artificial intelligence of your mind that rejects, separates, and judges the spirit world. Can we destroy and uncreate it, please? Oh, right, wrong, good, bad, papak, only shorts, boys, povids, and means. And while we're at it, all the lifetimes you talked to the spirit world, You had gifts with the spirit world, and everywhere you were told you were sad, crazy, emotional, and insane, everywhere you were locked up, everywhere you were imprisoned, everywhere you were put into mental asylums. Wow. Oh, and all the PTSD you have from those lifetimes that keeps you looping that you're still insane. Can we destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, papak, on his shorts, boys, COVID, emians. Here's the thing. You will not be put into a mental asylum anymore for talking to the spirit world. There's a thing called modern day witches now and modern day wizards. You'll be called a modern day witch. We are living in a time where you will not be put into hospital. You will not be put in places for being aware of the spirit world. If you refuse your spirit awareness, you will drive yourself so crazy and into mental disorders that you will be put in hospital and put on medication. In actual fact, opening up to the spirit world, getting educated and using the tools gets you away from mental diagnosis and medication. So what can you choose? What can you now be? And what can you also be for other people to inspire them that they also are not crazy? They're just aware. Okay, guys. Wow, I feel like I've gone on a long time. Okay, so I think we're going to leave it there. And someone said, you know, with the demon clearing, if she wants to give it to a client, should she read it to them or just give it to them? I mean, you can read it to them, but I would give it to them as well so they can use it every day in their life. Okay, and as Azul or Ash from Istanbul, will you private message me, babe? Thank you. All right, guys, I went on longer than I wanted to. Oh my God, no, guys, you're really mixing up. I don't know what, Rachel, I think you need, Rachel, your questions, message me, private message me, you're getting very confused. All right, guys, what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your bodies be to have clarity, ease, joy, and glory with your awareness and with the spirit world for all eternity? And everything doesn't allow that. Can we destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, unsure, it's boys, bovids, and yachts. When you get confused, when you start to go into your mind, when you start to get all head fucky, come back to all of the spirit world comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of the spirit world comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of the spirit world comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Oof. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Notice if you're getting more relaxed. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. This is an area people like to make really hard, difficult, and go crazy in. You don't have to do that. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Oh, last one. All of my spirit awareness comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And now relax. Ooh. More space, less space. What do you know? If you didn't have to go into your mind, what do you know? That's beyond your mind. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. If any of you are in California, I will be doing the Talk to the Entities beginning class on Mount Shasta and Energy Vortex next week. It's Northern California. I will be in Saudi Arabia the end of July. And if you'd like a Talk to the Entities class in your city, in your country, feel free to message me. If we have enough people interested, I will travel and I will go there. I may be in Dubai for a Talk to the Entities class in October or November. And I'm also looking at going to Israel the beginning of November for Talk to the Entities. So Thank you so much, everyone. If you're looking for translation, the translation will be uploaded afterwards. So thank you for being here. I'm going to post the Saudi Arabia information here as well.
When you come to Puerto Vallarta, let's go Latin dancing.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll be there for CF.
Yay.
Yeah, I was Latin dancing there